On a crisp autumn morning, I was stunned to receive an official notice from the Homeowners Association, which declared plans to bulldoze my luxurious private mini-golf course to build a new bridge. I had poured my heart, soul, and vast legal expertise into designing and maintaining this one-of-a-kind recreational oasis. As a world-renowned lawyer, known for my unwavering defense of property rights, I immediately recognized the absurdity of their claim. Welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe or HOA might come take what's yours. The notice detailed a plan that not only threatened to erase years of personal investment, but also undermined the very essence of my professional legacy. My mini golf course, adorned with custom-designed obstacles and lush, manicured landscapes, was a testament to artistry and legal acumen. The HOA argued that the proposed bridge would benefit the entire community by connecting key areas of our neighborhood. However, their plan blatantly disregarded the private ownership rights that I had meticulously established and legally protected. I spent countless hours reviewing my property deeds and architectural records, reaffirming that my course was indeed my sole and exclusive possession. The announcement left me both incensed and resolute, knowing that I could not allow this gross injustice to proceed unchecked. With a calm, yet formidable demeanor, I scheduled an emergency meeting with the HOA board to confront their plan. As I walked into the boardroom, I carried with me not only legal documents, but also a history of successful cases defending private property. The board members appeared taken aback by my presence and the clarity with which I articulated my rights. I explained that the mini golf course was more than just a recreational facility. It was a symbol of personal achievement and legal precedent. Each meticulously crafted hole on the course had been designed to challenge the conventional boundaries between art and law. My arguments were fortified by decades of case law and the deep respect I had earned in the legal community. The board attempted to downplay my claims by citing community development goals, but their justifications crumbled under the weight of legal fact. I presented a comprehensive dossier of evidence, including notarized blueprints, property tax records, and historical preservation documents. The room fell silent as the undeniable truth of my ownership was laid bare before the skeptical eyes of the board. It became evident that the HOA had made a grave error in assuming that community benefit could override individual property rights. I reminded them that my reputation as a world-class lawyer was built on upholding the rule of law and protecting citizens' rights. The board members exchanged uneasy glances, realizing that their proposal was fraught with legal peril. I detailed how the demolition of my mini-golf course would not only destroy an architectural marvel, but also set a dangerous precedent. The notion of bulldozing private property for the sake of public projects without proper legal recourse was both revolutionary and reckless. In my speech, I stressed that innovation in urban development must always be balanced with respect for established legal boundaries. The board's arguments fell flat as I cited landmark cases where property owners had triumphed over misguided municipal ambitions. The tension in the room was palpable as I methodically deconstructed each point of their proposal with precision. I emphasized that the bridge project, though well-intentioned, did not grant the HOA the right to override my clearly defined property rights. My presentation was not merely a defense of a mini-golf course, it was a declaration of the sanctity of private ownership in a rapidly evolving urban landscape. I warned that if the HOA proceeded with their plan, they would face not only legal challenges, but also a public relations debacle. I was confident that the combination of my legal acumen and the weight of historical precedent would ultimately prevail. The board's initial enthusiasm for the bridge project quickly gave way to apprehension as they grasped the full implications of my argument. It was clear to all present that a world-renowned lawyer was not to be trifled with when it came to defending his private interests. I proposed alternative solutions that would allow the community to enjoy improved infrastructure without sacrificing the integrity of my mini-golf course. These alternatives included constructing a pedestrian overpass in a nearby location, which would still enhance connectivity while preserving my property. I argued that innovation and community development should never come at the expense of individual rights and personal achievements. The board reluctantly acknowledged that my alternatives merited serious consideration and promised to review them thoroughly. As the meeting drew to a close, I left the room with the unmistakable impression that the tide had turned in my favor. The experience reaffirmed my belief in the power of legal expertise and the enduring importance of protecting one's property rights. I returned to my mini golf course that day with renewed determination to safeguard what was rightfully mine against any future encroachments. The incident marked the beginning of a long and arduous legal battle, but it also solidified my reputation as a formidable defender of private property rights, a status that no one could challenge. In the days following the contentious board meeting, my legal team and I mobilized with precision to counter the HOA's audacious proposal, determined to protect every inch of my private mini-golf course. The announcement of the bridge project sent shockwaves through the community, igniting fierce debates and drawing legal inquiries from every corner of the neighborhood. I immediately contacted my closest legal associates to compile a comprehensive dossier of evidence that would irrefutably establish my ownership and the historical significance of the property. Our strategy was to build an unassailable case that not only defended my rights, but also set a precedent for the inviolability of private property against intrusive municipal ambitions. The HOA's rhetoric of community progress began to crumble under the weight of solid legal documentation and my formidable reputation in property law. Local media outlets quickly seized upon the story, framing it as a high-stakes battle between individual rights and collective development. Television interviews and newspaper editorials soon depicted the scenario as a modern David versus Goliath struggle, with me cast as the solitary guardian of personal liberty. As the legal proceedings commenced, I found myself immersed in a labyrinth of depositions, court filings, and meticulously crafted legal arguments. Every document I presented, from notarized blueprints to detailed property tax records, served as a powerful testament to the legitimacy of my claim. My decades of experience as a world-renowned lawyer shone through as I delivered an opening statement that left no doubt about the sanctity of private ownership. Witnesses, including architects and contractors who had contributed to the course's design, testified emphatically about the uniqueness and precision of its construction. The HOA, in stark contrast, fumbled with vague assertions and contradictory statements that failed to justify their drastic measures. Each day in the courtroom saw the narrative shift further in my favor as I methodically deconstructed the HOA's arguments with authoritative citations and landmark case references. The tension in the courtroom grew palpable as both sides recognized that the outcome could redefine property rights in our community. Legal experts outside the case weighed in, praising my argument and heralding the trial as a critical moment for property law nationwide. I maintain an unyielding calm and strategic focus, knowing that every well-crafted argument further fortified my position. Public interest in the case soared as community members tuned into every court session, their support bolstering my resolve. Social media buzzed with accolades for my principled defense, while legal blogs dissected each turn of the proceedings with keen insight. The judge, respected for his fairness and legal acumen, repeatedly commended the strength of my evidence and the clarity of my arguments. In a pivotal ruling, the judge granted a temporary injunction that halted all further action by the HOA pending a full review of the case. This injunction was not only a legal victory, but also a powerful affirmation of my rights as a property owner. Emboldened by this development, I pressed forward with renewed determination, confident that justice would prevail. My legal team and I meticulously reviewed every facet of the HOA's plan, anticipating and neutralizing every potential counterclaim. Amidst the courtroom drama, the community's support grew, with local businesses and civic leaders voicing their solidarity for individual rights. Public forums and neighborhood meetings became vibrant hubs of discussion, with many residents expressing gratitude for the defense of personal property against overreach. The trial quickly evolved from a local dispute into a symbol of the broader struggle between municipal power and private autonomy. Legal analysts debated the implications on televised panels, further cementing the case's status as a watershed moment in property law. Every piece of evidence I introduced was met with astonishment, reinforcing the narrative of the HOA's unfounded ambitions. The judge's inquiries and pointed questions exposed the fundamental flaws in the HOA's rationale, leaving their case increasingly untenable. With each passing day, the courtroom atmosphere became charged with anticipation, as it became clear that the scales of justice were tipping in my favor. The community's faith in the legal system was restored as I articulated the principles that had long guided my career and the essence of private ownership. Despite relentless cross-examinations and procedural challenges, my resolve never wavered, and I stood firm in the pursuit of justice. Every courtroom session deepened the public's understanding of the importance of protecting personal investments and creative endeavors. The trial, with its complex legal maneuvers and impassioned debates, transformed my private mini-golf course into a potent symbol of individual achievement and resistance. As the proceedings drew international attention from legal scholars and property rights activists alike, I felt the weight of history upon my shoulders. My arguments, laced with both legal precision and heartfelt passion, resonated deeply with every observer. The intensity of the battle in the courtroom paralleled the fervor of public opinion, uniting supporters from all walks of life. In each subsequent hearing, my legal strategy grew sharper, and every new piece of evidence further dismantled the HOA's overreaching claims. The culmination of weeks of relentless litigation not only promised to safeguard my property, but also to redefine community standards regarding private versus public rights. By the close of this tumultuous chapter, it was evident that the legal victory I had so meticulously engineered would serve as a landmark defense against any future attempts by the HOA to encroach upon individual freedoms. The courtroom was packed with community members eager to witness the final ruling on the case. After weeks of rigorous litigation and heated arguments, the judge delivered a decisive verdict. The legal documents and testimonies presented by my expert team left no doubt about the rightful ownership of my private mini-golf course. The ruling unequivocally stated that the HOA's attempt to bulldoze my property was a blatant violation of my constitutional rights. The judge also criticized the HOA for their reckless disregard of established legal precedents. Media outlets hailed the decision as a monumental victory for individual property rights. The ruling not only ensured the preservation of my luxurious mini-golf course, but also set a new standard for property law in the region. Community members who had supported the HOA's plan were forced to reconsider their positions. I was inundated with messages of support from legal experts and property owners alike. The final judgment affirmed that no public project could override clear and unambiguous private property rights. In the aftermath of the decision, the HOA was ordered to cease all plans related to the bridge construction. The ruling required the HOA to reimburse the legal fees incurred during the prolonged litigation. This reimbursement was seen as a further acknowledgement of the HOA's overreach and misguided ambitions. The court's decision was celebrated as a victory for justice and individual empowerment. My reputation as a world-renowned lawyer was further cemented by this landmark case. I became a celebrated figure in the local community, symbolizing the power of the law to protect personal investments. The media coverage shifted from controversy to admiration as the story spread nationwide. Public opinion shifted dramatically, with many praising the judiciary for upholding the rule of law. The decision had a ripple effect, inspiring property owners in other communities to stand up for their rights. I was invited to speak at various legal seminars and community meetings to discuss the importance of property rights. My mini-golf course, once under threat of demolition, was now recognized as a cultural and legal landmark. The beautiful, intricately designed course was restored to its former glory with additional enhancements funded by community contributions. Neighbors who had once opposed me began to see the merits of safeguarding private property. The successful defense of my mini-golf course became a case study in law schools across the country. Legal scholars reference the case as a pivotal moment in modern property law. The HOA, having faced legal and public backlash, retracted their bridge project entirely. In its place, the HOA initiated a community consultation process to explore more collaborative infrastructure solutions. The entire episode prompted a re-evaluation of the balance between public development and private rights. As a result, new policies were drafted that clearly delineated the boundaries of private property within community development plans. These policies were embraced by local governments as a way to prevent similar conflicts in the future. I continued to maintain my mini-golf course with the same dedication and passion as before, but now with an even greater sense of pride. Every custom-designed obstacle and beautifully landscaped area served as a reminder of the hard-fought legal battle. My journey through the litigation process had not only defended my property, but also enriched my understanding of community dynamics. I reached out to the HOA board to offer assistance in restructuring their development plans, emphasizing collaboration over confrontation. In a gesture of goodwill, I proposed using a section of my property for community recreational purposes on a limited basis. This proposal was warmly received by many in the neighborhood who saw it as a fair compromise. The reconciliation efforts marked the beginning of a new era of cooperation between private property owners and the HOA. The story of my legal victory served as a catalyst for more respectful and informed discussions on property rights in the community. As the final chapter of this tumultuous saga closed, the mini-golf course stood as a proud testament to the triumph of individual rights. With the threat of the bridge project permanently extinguished, I looked forward to a future where the law consistently upheld the sanctity of private property, ensuring that justice would always prevail.